already, in my opinion, puts that in consideration for best album of the year. I don't know if
Oh, for
that's too
sure.
early to say, guys, but
Oh, for sure. Oh,
just
for
with
sure.
everything that it's already accomplished, all of the controversy that's surrounding it right now, with Justin Bieber dropping the same night, uh, and then Travis Scott dropping Jack Boys 2 days after. Um, I'm still assuming that clips are going to have good numbers. More importantly, they're leaving an impact on this year. They're leaving an impact on hip hop. And I personally need to start like considering, where do we have this album rollout in our like in our history books, because they absolutely killed it with the interviews coming out. So Be It being the lead single is just perfect, like perfect way to stoke the fire and get people excited. But I want to get y'all's take. So what are some of y'all's favorite album rollouts, and where does Let God Sort 'Em Out kind of fall within this category?
Yeah, it's hard not to bring up. Oh, you want to go ahead?
No, you go straight ahead.
Yeah, it's hard not to bring up Pusha T's arch nemesis now, Kanye West. But I mean, especially if I'm thinking hip hop rollouts, it's hard not to think of Kanye West for multiple projects. I mean, Twisted Fantasies, probably one of the number one.
Good
I think
Fridays. I remember growing up with Good Friday. Yeah, those were the
Yep.
best. Recently,
Mhm.
like Don did, like especially the having the live stream at the concerts. I know we talked about this in the pod a few years back, like how revolutionary that was. I thought it was pretty dope.
Yep.
Yeah, even The Life of Pablo had a pretty crazy rollout with like the listening party, and yeah, man, Kanye is definitely up there for
100%.
some of the best album rollouts ever.
And speaking about arch nemesis, Kanye, another one of Kanye's arch nemesis, Drake, during COB, him having the billboards in each and every country and city with the artists that were featured on that project, I thought was really, really dope.
You can keep that one. You can keep that one.
You're not a fan of that one?
You can keep that one.
Is there another Drake rollout that you thought was better?
I mean, the biggest one of his career was definitely Views, right? I mean, but
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too.
Not the biggest fan personally of that album, but I don't know if there was a project that was hyped more than that in the 2010s. But I mean, I will say this: we're talking about favorite album rollouts, but to give this album rollouts credit, I mean, this has been the talk of hip hop for the last like 4 months now. Like I've heard everyone talk about this. This is one of the most highly anticipated albums I've heard in a while, and I think I'm just so happy that they're getting their just due. I know there's all this talk about the beefs that they're in, whether it's with Travis or whether it's with Drake or whoever, Jim Jones even. I know they're walking on the Louis Vuitton rollout runway in Paris a couple of years ago, but just to focus on them and them getting their flowers finally, it's been amazing to see, especially Malice. I mean, I might be mistaken. I know on So Be It there weren't any. He didn't say any curse words, but was it the whole project? He didn't curse at all.
The whole project.
Damn
the
it,
whole
damn
project.
I think
I'm so glad you brought up that. I think people, maybe because of the hiatus, maybe it's the no cursing, but Malice really shined on this project. Like he like there is like a legit. I know Pusha gets offended when you say this, as he should, because he's like that S tier level of MC. But if somebody said Malice was the best rapper on Clips, I'm not gonna argue with them. Like I'm not. Like what he did on this project was amazing, and it's a combination of just like when you really think about him not cursing at all through the project. When you really think about the fact that he's had this long of a hiatus in general, I know you get a verse from here and there. I think he was on a Ye project. A few ones. I think the Jesus is King one. I think he was on the end, but he's in a few projects here and there, right? Like sort of like how 3 Stacks or like how Hove does it, or like once in a blue moon you'll hear them. But for him to do this on a whole project, 12, 13 tracks, is really with like God tier MCs.
Yep.
Like that, it's a testament to how good Malice is at this rap shit.
100%. And even too, I mean, he deserves all his flowers, but not to take away from Push. I mean, Push, and I was talking about Gage about this recently, but when you consider, Lord Willing, Hell Have No Fury, Daytona, It's Almost Dry, and now this project, his catalog and discography is insane. The fact that he's gone toe to toe and won beefs, has some of the best diss records ever. He's on huge commercial records as well. When you think about, I think it's Runaway, the Don't Like remix, Grindin'. He's got records. He's got a crazy set list. I really think Push there's some serious conversations about where Push stands on some of those lists, because he can say a lot of things other people can't say, and his discography is undefeated right now,
and he's battle tested.
Very much so. And I think this project is just building more on his already legendary discography, because it's almost dry. I thought it was a cool project, right? It was missing a little bit of the magic that I think that I had during Daytona. But I think this project really, really brings that feeling back for me, at least.
For sure.
And the most important thing above it all was it's just quality music. It's they took their time, and that's another thing I want to shout out Pusha T for, because in an era where you release an album every year, every couple of months, people are just dying for content. Pusha T takes his time, make sure that the albums are good, and I think it was like at least 3 years between It's Always Dry, this album. So I think that's just good process, man. You end up having better quality albums, and for a guy like Pusha T, this is just benefiting him. It's helping his case in conversations like this. Who's the greatest MC? Pusha T's got to start being in that conversation, because there aren't very many things that he hasn't done. And yeah, man, I think this was just a great addition to add on to it.
For 100%. Sure. What other album rollouts do you guys think were great? We mentioned like some of the Kanye ones. We mentioned Drake. I think Tyler deserves a shout out for his world building. I think he on really the last like 3 or 4 projects. For me, the standout one for me will probably Call Me If You Get Lost. I think that probably had the best rollout. Everything from the teaser. I remember we got the teaser of the NBA YoungBoy verse with Ty Dolla $ign, and then we have the whole like aesthetic with the pastel colors and the music videos. I thought that was a really, really good one.
Yeah, and I mean, for him, you could even go Chromacopia, you could go Flower Boy, you go Igor, because I think Igor is probably his most iconic rollout. And there's definitely an art form to it, and I like it when artists take it seriously. I'll give you one of mine. I think After Hours by The Weeknd, that was one of the craziest album rollouts ever, and it happened like right before COVID or like during COVID. So that was like a weird time too, where we're like, I felt like everyone was kind of tuned in with what was happening with The Weeknd, and he was just inescapable. So that's got to be one of my favorites personally.
Yeah, the Super Bowl around that time too.
Yeah, he was on the Super Bowl like less than a year later.
I'm trying to think what else.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, it's
because the internet.
Because the internet is tough too. Yep.
That one might be short. Yeah, I was gonna say with the short films, he had a website and
he had a script for a movie.
Damn. Yeah.
Side note, we're still waiting on that Gambino. What's it called? Movie that he was supposed to drop like last year. I totally forgot about that until you just brought it up. What else project? I don't know. I guess because all of us are kind of like marketing, like social media guys too, and we love hip hop. I think we all like very much appreciate. You know what? That's a good rollout. Like I really appreciate that they actually like cared. Amine is really good at his album rollouts too. Amine is really, really good. I know that he might not be on like the superstar level as the guys we mentioned. Who else? Travis Scott. I remember Astro World in high school with the pop-up shops, the merch, the festival before the tragedy at the festival happened. Like everything around that was great.
Well, let me ask you, like, especially during the streaming era, I think around like 2015, 2014 to now, a lot of anti-rollouts, a lot of just dropping, and no one had any heads up, no singles, no music videos, no nothing. What do y'all think about that in this era? And do we prefer the months out, we know this is coming, there's a date that's set, or how does that not anti-rollout affect the music and how we consume it and how we look at it?
Man, I feel like it's such a complicated like feeling, because I feel like the classic rollout of like announcing it kind of upsets people, because like for example, I'll use Jid, who released his out or said his album was coming out in August, and I think he announced it like a couple months ago, and people were just like, bro, we're gonna have to wait forever. But like, you use that as a strategy to build anticipation. You're like, okay, people are gonna stick around. This is how I'm gonna release singles, get people ready for when I drop my album in August. And I definitely just see a benefit to doing that. But I think with the success of so many albums that have just dropped out of nowhere, like with no lead up, just kind of like a surprise, I think a lot of artists are kind of thinking that might be the move. But I feel like it only really works if you're like just really highly anticipated, like someone that we haven't heard from in a while, or someone that we're just really intrigued with, that we would listen to whatever they drop, even if they dropped it on a Tuesday night at 8 p.m.
And I think you hit the nail on the head right there with that one. That like drop out of nowhere surprise album, that is only reserved for the superstars of the superstariest. Like that is for the S tier, the artists that have already established catalogs. It's not for up and coming rappers, up and coming artists that have yet to reach the level. I think those artists benefit more from doing an album rollout, getting with a graphic designer, getting with a creative director, coming up with a vision and executing it. And when it comes to doing the world building, the merch, everything like that, telling a story through the marketing before you even get to the music. I think when artists do that, easier said than done, but when artists do that, I think they have better success, because the dropping out of nowhere or the constant like, oh, I'm gonna do the album this date and then another date and this date, but there's no like vision. You're not really interacting with artists through social media, through marketing campaigns. It doesn't really work, and we've seen it time and time again.
Yeah, and I think Beyonce was the one who kind of started this when she dropped her self-titled album and had all these music videos, and it was a huge, moment in music, even changing what day we drop in the week, right?
From Tuesday to Friday, yes, sir.
Exactly. But even then, like you are A-list, S tier artist, right? Not everyone's can do that. But I think the difficult part for a younger artist is you have to have the push behind this. You have to have the industry push, the label push, the money to do this, doing the industry circuit, being on all the podcasts and the radio stations, and, having the billboards and, being able to drop singles with music videos and all these things. It's difficult because you have to have the budget to do that. I know another thing we talked a lot about is, what date you're dropping. And what does that look like in the streaming era versus going to a tangible store to pick up a project? Hey, if I'm dropping the same weekend as Justin Bieber, for example, are they going to step on my rollout, step on my sales? I think it's interesting. What does the nuance look like when we're streaming versus necessarily like purchasing an album tangibly? But I think that's kind of why merch and all these things are important as well, and selling those vinyl records and all these things that come with the album, because you're not making as much profit off the streaming. It's going to be through touring and merchandise sales as well.
I'm with you.
That's a really good point.
And I think a lot of smaller artists, they really need to, I don't want to know if invest is the right word, correct me if I'm using it wrong, but I think they should put more into like certain spaces. Like smaller artists should be going on podcasts like our recording. They should be going and visiting graphic designers on Instagram that they like. They'll and try to interact with them, rather than trying to skip all the way to step 5, step 6, trying to go on an Apple Music radio show or try to win a rap contest. You know what I'm saying? Like try working and networking, connecting with people in your own circuit, and then building from there. Because that then get people that fucks with you to really put you on, no pun intended, but put you on to their audience. You can cultivate like that relationship with up and coming media members. You can cultivate that relationship with up and coming designers. Like I just don't understand why more artists don't do that. And I don't think that's, in that case, what I'm speaking of, I don't think that's a money thing. I think that's like just a prioritization thing.
100%. I mean, especially when you think about trying to go on tour or trying to sell out a local venue or whatever, like the people who are going to leave their home and purchase tickets and drive and fly to go see you are the ones who you are interacting with on a more personal level through your social media, through streaming, especially. I mean, if you're trying to boost and build an audience, I mean, that is the lane right now, is going on stream, Twitch, YouTube, whatever it might be. So definitely building that local base and then expanding. I mean, these are the people who are going to buy your merch. These are the people who are going to buy your tickets. So that's how you can leverage those relationships and make a profitable career in this space.
Yeah, for example, right? Let's say you're an up-and-coming artist and you're in college. You go to Texas State, for example. You should be finding a way to get on KTSW. You should be finding a way to see if you can perform at the Mark. See if you can talk to promoters, this, and that. Like, you should be working with these people, social media people, these radio stations, like these up-and-coming people that are in the same space as you, same career arcs and journeys as you. That way, 4 or 5 years down the road, when you become a better artist, you have these networks. You have these like people that you can go to help you build your audience. Like, you really cultivated that. So
100%.
I think more artists should take notes.
Yeah,
for
sure. I think it's also encouraging artists to, do it the right way and encourage them to do quality over quantity. I think that's something that also just gets lost. Of artists think that they just need to be releasing music constantly so that they can stay in people's stay in their feeds, stay on their minds, in their playlists.